What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Lucid. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down what's really been moving Lucid, and go over the latest rumor that is pretty kick-ass if you ask me. So I'm going to go over all of that, but first make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, Lucid is down slightly, 0.98%. Very volatile day, so 344 the low, 357 is the high. In my opinion, this was linked to the rumor because I tried to find out exactly when the rumor started to kind of pop up. Hasn't been confirmed, obviously rumor, that's kind of what that means, but there was one very much abnormal transaction, 216,000 shares. So obviously someone knows something, but generally speaking, fairly low volume for today. So 17.3 million shares being traded, 33.7 is the average. Majority of the volume being done today is linked to shorting as well as algorithmic trading because you're not seeing all that much institutions buying the dip. So far, 5 transactions on the secondary market above $100,000. Majority of it has been sells first thing. So a lot of institutions were selling, causing a lot of volatility here. At the same time, shorts were really doubling down and adding a lot of selling pressure. So I'm going to talk about that in a second. But as of today, there's been no official SEC filings, no official press releases, nothing like that. So it's just been reacting to the broader market, which overall hasn't necessarily been the most optimistic. At the same time, Trump did have his speech yesterday, and I think this is where some arguments could be made on both cases. The fact that he's actually paying attention to EVs and kind of referencing them, but overall, I believe his kind of tone was somewhat negative. He kind of talked on mandates and stuff like that, how his first thing he's going to remove that. I don't really understand what he's talking about for that mandates. I assume it's that 2035 transition. But still, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what does come when he comes into play. But I think generally speaking, the consensus is that it's not bullish for EVs. So again, that's been one thing that's really been affecting EVs over this last little bit. But shorts right now are increasing 2.72 million shares. 27.78% of the free floats being shorted. Works out to be 246.04 million shares. Utilization 91.47, and then cost to borrow average is 21.19. So somewhat in line with yesterday. And shorts increasing today are kind of breaking the trend. So it was at a high of roughly 29.08%. That was on July the 2nd. So they were kind of returning quite a lot up until today. So kind of breaking the trend a little bit. So something to keep in mind. But it's interesting that they're breaking trend when this rumor did come out. So like I said, I tried to kind of figure out when it came out and popped up because there's been, as you can kind of see through 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘𝗧𝗧, no actual articles are talking about any rumor, nothing like that, just more so linked to analyst ratings or technical. So it's been relatively quiet for that, but you do see this came out. So Lucid 2030 did post this. So Lucid made a deal. Again, it is just rumored with Al-Nair, which is CR7's team, and that's going to be one of the sponsors. So I think this is epic stuff. We've seen CR7 kind of seen with obviously a Lucid Air in the past. It's kind of just been a one-off kind of scenario, but nonetheless though, I think that is pretty kick-ass stuff. That's one thing that a lot of people have been really wanting, is Lucid to have kind of high profile names attached. I think in the past we've seen a lot of people like post pictures with an Air or whatever else, but nobody officially sponsored. So I think this is a move in the right direction. It would have been nice if they did it during the last World Cup or even this most recent Euros, but whatever, you can't have everything, right? So I think no matter what, this is pretty good. Again, it's unconfirmed. I haven't seen any articles really bringing this up. A couple of people have posted this exact same thing. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see whether Lucid does bring this up during their upcoming earnings. Again, that could be something that us retail do pose to management as far as a form of a question. So that does open up on the 22nd, so July 22nd. So don't forget, I'm going to hound you guys every single day to put forth the very best questions, because typically the first 1 or 2 days that they open questions to, Those are the ones that are typically asked. So very, very important. Moving on from this rumor, which is very amazing stuff, 431,000 in calls, 941 in puts. Sentiment wise, very evenly divided, as you can kind of tell right there. So 42% of all the options being done so far today are optimistic and bullish. And of the call options that are being purchased, you do see a consensus for it to be above $4 once again next week. And just to give you an overview of the open interest, so you do see roughly around 11,000 at that 350 strike price, 8,000 at that 3. So it is fair to assume that given if it stays the status quo, then those will be obviously in the money. Market makers will have to go on Monday to cover those. And so that's just based on my experience. I do typically see that occur on Monday. So that should give a nice bump up in the obviously stock price first thing, as market makers cover roughly around 2 million shares. So yeah, that's pretty good stuff. As of right now, with it at $3.56, it is trading between these 2 points, so this S1 and the pivot. So 365 is going to be that next strong kind of resistance slash target, and then 352 is going to be that next strong support. So kind of just stay tuned for that and just watch for both. But on the actual chart itself, you do see still consolidation for the most part. So this might be a potential bottoming. Again, just refer back to some of the strong support and resistance points overall, but number of retail investors are starting to get back in. So even though institutions aren't necessarily buying Lucid, you're seeing retail definitely do that. And looking at stochastic, so it did get very overbought. So the first sign of weakness, which of course there's been a lot of different things coming out, not necessarily to Lucid, but larger scale, that obviously is causing a lot of volatility. That's still somewhat good though, because it is resetting the technical. So right now it is at 60-ish. So in reality, that's considered neutral. So not really overbought anymore or oversold. You do see a bearish deviation. It is very minor, but red line above the white. So all in all, I think generally speaking, I think this pullback was anticipated. For those of you that tuned into my weekend video, I think I put it out under Financial Journey, but I went over some expectations for this week, and the options did signal that it was going to be settling around that 350 mark. So lo and behold, here we are. So this is why I like to analyze a lot of the data, because it gives you a good insight of where it could be going. So let me know your thoughts on Lucid. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And give yourself a shout out if you've been buying, if you've been selling, what have you been doing with Lucid. One final thing, as usual, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.